My name's Darren Nicklin. I'm a Director of Brindley Garages in the West Midlands. We cover all of the West Midlands in new and used cars and operate multiple workshops selling new and used cars. I have 10 sites and multiple manufacturers, and to date I think we have around 12,000 people on our database. Us as a company needed to go forward with the electric vehicles. The world's changing from fossil fuel, and as a group we needed to change with over 300 employees and needed to have a system that operated for everyone and very flexible in charging around the group as people and managers move around the group. So I went to market with a company to try and solve the problem of making it more flexible, and instantly found that not all companies out there had a solution for what we needed. And our electrical supplier at the time put me in touch with a company called FMSG. And I met a very nice gentleman called Andy, and we discussed what we wanted to do, and over many hours and meetings we then discovered a solution that we thought would be great for our group. We then took on the site where I'm at now, which is Featherstone, which is our operations centre, and we growed the charging infrastructure here first, and then we rolled it across the group, and now I think we have around 250 to 300 employees, which is flexible across all of the 10 sites that we have, and enables us to charge quite a few new and used electric vehicles, and it's given us a massive operating strategic approach, so we can now monitor what's charged, how many kilowatts we use. We're now into looking at energy across the whole group to maximise what we use, when we use it, what time of day we use it, and make the most of it with our solar panels that we've got across all dealerships. So going forward, all of our sites will be protected by fire with FM Services. It's a project that's currently ongoing. When the project's finished, we'll then do a schedule of works for maintenance across the whole group, so we covered insurance-wise to lower our ratings of fire. We've now got the maintenance in place for chargers, as well as solar cleaning, and obviously all the issues or problems we have around charging it is taken on by them. Also, I mentioned to Andy in a meeting that we also discussed was security around the sites, especially around keys for our insurance. Obviously, that's the biggest risk of our business, is keys going missing, vehicles going missing. That is a major issue for us. So I gave Andy a mission to be able to lock down all of our sites at night to secure keys and know exactly keys at what time of the day. Andy came back to me with a solution, and now half of the sites are all protected by an access control system, which is split in multiple ways from each site to each user to a time zone. So we can now operate who goes into buildings, when, what time, which gives us protection around the group. Obviously, for our insurance point of view, there's no keys that can be passed on to other people. It's all done electronically via your phones. So if someone leaves, you can delete the access control, knowing full well that the person is now not getting access to your buildings.
Yeah, we're at the Brindley Group in West Midlands. This is another one of our clients where we maintain sort of the gate automation, EV charging, solar panels, and we're also looking to take on the fire side of things as well. This is another site that we maintain for a client, and part of this process is to design and build the gate automation for access to the property. This particular site, this gate that you can see over here is historic, and it was said that the gates are actually redundant and needed to be replaced, but actually, matter of fact, that was not the case. The actual framework of the gates are absolutely fantastic. They're robust, they're hard steel, probably better than you can purchase today. What was required was gate automation, and we needed to actually improve the automation, so we added some new controllers, new tracks to the gates, and obviously to get the gates to work correctly. So we've managed to achieve that quite successfully, but whilst doing that we also added additional new intercom systems to the actual gates as well, to allow access to low level and high level vehicles. So if I walk back to here, what you can see from here, is we've installed some Paxton units, one below for low-level cars, low-level vehicles, and obviously large vehicle access, large vans and lorry access. That's integrated to the gate, so if I need access to the site and you have a key fob, you can let yourself in. So the gates will open here. As you can see, these gates run really smoothly. Originally it was said that the gates couldn't be repaired, and that's obviously, you can see, is not the case. We have repaired them. They're very smooth, they're very functional, and they do exactly what they say. So if we go through here, I'll walk through this area here, because whilst we're here, we also had some pedestrian access as well. So whilst we've got access for the gates, we've got access for the pedestrians as well. So once again, the individuals would need a key code or a card to scan through here to allow them onto the site. And this is quite a high-level security site. If we come through here, we then had to think about the controls of the site as well. So there was quite a lot of work that happened here, because it wasn't simply, you know, we could just put the gates in, and we had to look at historic legacy infrastructure and new infrastructure. So we've had to dig up the ground and install cables on the ground. So underneath here, you'll notice, you know, if you look here, particularly here, you will notice there's been civils work carried out. We've put a duct system under the ground. This duct system goes quite a way back to the building, but from here, this is the last piece of it. It comes down here, and then it goes to an enclosure here. Inside this particular cabinet, it is quite complex, although it may look simplistic. There's quite a lot in it. Obviously, we've got power, because we need power to control the gates. We've also got data, so we have standard Cat6 data. These fibre optics allows this cabinet to speak to multiple cabinets that are located around the site. We've got Paxton controllers, controls the gate access and the access control, and then we also have a backup UPS. In the event of a power failure, that's basically how we will cover that off. So we keep it up. There's an uptime in the event of a power failure, the gates continue to work. EV charging is pretty critical here, because all the vehicles come into this compound, they're PDI'd before they go out to the other dealerships. Across the entire dealership, there's 16 garages within the dealership, and all the garages have EV charging, just in the region of about 40 units. And there was a mixture between DC charging, which are these big units you can see here, and AC charging, which are the slightly smaller units we can see over there. They are a slow charge or fast charge, but you can imagine at this particular site it needs to be fast charging. So as with everything, we need a lot of power. These are big chargers, we need a lot of power, so we've had to design internal infrastructure to accommodate the power draw. More importantly about this infrastructure, while we're talking about 16 sites across a network of dealerships, these chargers all speak to each other. We've built a back office system that allows every charger to communicate, so you can charge here, go to another dealership and charge again, and it's all integrated into a back office that monitors, controls usage, and puts it into accounts packages if required. This particular showroom is quite unique because it has 4 dealerships on the same location. So we have Volvo, MG, Honda and Xpeng. Now all of these dealerships here have all got electric vehicles, so on this particular site we need an awful lot of power. The installation of this is approximately 37 metres away from the transformer, so we've had to excavate the ground, lay in special ductwork to carry the cables, install very large cables, obviously because the charger draws a lot of current, and then work our way back towards the actual transformers. This site not only has a 170 kilowatt charger, it also has 3 40 kilowatt DC chargers as well, which are also required for PDI in the vehicles as they come in. This is a 22 kV transformer which was installed to provide power for the 150 kilowatt charger and the 3 additional 40 kilowatt chargers that we have there, and that's connected to that kiosk. So we've designed this into the actual kiosk. National Grid have supplied this, we have installed it, and National Grid has signed it off. FMSG has delivered this part of the installation, completely wired everything up with their tails. Having completed the panel board, we've gone to a sub board on the right hand side. Now this sub board actually feeds the chargers, and the reason that we've built it in this arrangement is purely to do with earthing. Now every charger has to be earthed. Now with your smaller AC chargers, they will generally have an open device built into the charger, and that would be taken care of. Your earthing would be taken care of. Unfortunately with DC charging, most of the chargers don't have that functionality. That gives us peace of mind that anybody using those chargers is not likely to get electrocuted, or in the event of a lightning strike or shorted in the circuit, we know it's going to go to ground, and then the system will be completely safe. So that is the reason why we've arranged it in this particular manner. We're at another Brindley site, which is Brindley Hyundai. This is based in Cannock. And this site, once again, uses a lot of EV, so we've had to build an EV infrastructure here. As you can see behind us, we've got a couple of chargers here across the back here. These are AC chargers, so the installations aren't quite as complex as what we saw on the previous sites, but nonetheless, they're still EV charging solutions that they can charge in multiples. On this particular site, we look after the solar as well, and we look after the fire alarm panels as well on this location. Yeah, so this is the front of the same actual complex that we're on at Brindley's, and this has DC charging, so you can see it's rapid charging 2 vehicles here, and this will be a very, very quick process, but again, needs a lot of power. That's got its own dedicated power supply in that little kiosk you can see there, and it also has, as with the last previous site we went to as well, it had a line of sight. This also has a line of sight to pass the data. This actually allows us to send information back to the main compound. So we're at Brindley Honda in Cannock, and at this particular site we've actually carried out quite a large fire installation. So we have 2 external buildings, a primary building and 2 external buildings. It was a little bit more complex because although you can use wireless technology, that was not something we chose to use. So we went around it in a hardwired version and effectively remotely linked the panels together. So we're actually inside the site, and part of this installation we installed an advanced 4-loop system. And this is quite a large system, but as you can see we've got all the loops are actually working. So this particular panel is the master panel, which covers the showroom, and we're now going to walk outside to the remote site where we see how we connect it to the board. So although we have primary building and 2 external buildings, the signal happens from this, but signals a second panel which will then alert them. So if we have an issue, whether it's in an external building or primary building, those people, the occupants of those buildings, will be alerted to the problem. So from that primary panel which I spoke about, we have some signalling panels, which you'll see there's one located here. And in the event of an incident, what will happen is, even if that incident is not in this building, it will signal them to let them know there's an issue around the complex somewhere. Rather than installing 2 systems, we've installed 1 system and used repeater panels to signal in the other areas away from the primary building, but at the same time ensuring that we retain the safety and security of the occupants. So we're on the 3rd site within this building. Unfortunately, there is no means of connectivity or no way we could access between 2 buildings. So as a result, we've had to install an independent panel, and which is still part of the infrastructure but doesn't signal, so it stands alone in its own right. And this panel's here. Again, we're using the Advanced brand, still of the same brand. And that said, we are still able to take on other brands of alarm system. We're advocates for Advanced just because we prefer that particular product and how it functions and how it works and what we're able to do with it. However, if it's a takeover and we're using something like CTEC or another brand, Honeywell, it's not a problem, we can do that.